It was a hot night in Detroit, and the men from the auto plants were out for a night on the town. Somebody started a fight. When it was over, Vincent Chin was dead, his head split open with a baseball bat.
Vincent Chin would be alive today if he were not Asian.
Was it a case of racism or a barroom brawl?
God, it's so hard to explain. It's not something you plan on happening, but it happens.
I want justice for Vincent. I want justice for my son. Thank you.
Lily and me came from different part of the province, but Chinese characters are same. You know, we speak differently, but with characters, but you're right. And one thing Lily and me both like, we love to cook.
Mm-hmm.
And my mother is a fantastic knitter.
Mm-hmm.
So Lily was making sweater. And ultimately, she made a sweater for me, okay? So we land a common ground as a mother, as a sweater maker, as a cooker. And Lily liked me and I liked her. So we made a little promo for the Corporation for Public Broadcast. And that was sample reel along with a larger, a proposal. Mm-hmm. And they met with me. Unfortunately, the question they posed to me, perhaps at the time, I thought it was acceptable. How can you be objective?
Mm-hmm.
Since you're Asian.
Yeah.
And it's a hard question to answer. In the realm of Corporation for Public Broadcast, the objectivity meaning you had to balance both sides' point of view.
Sure.
Okay. Well, obviously, I had a lot of material from Chin's side, mm-hmm. but I had no material from Ronald Evans and Michael Nitz's side because he refused to be interviewed. I did not get the interview until the final court decision in Cincinnati.
Oh, okay.
4 years later.
Okay.
Later, I said to Ronald, I said, dude, cool. They won the case in Cincinnati, mm-hmm. and he was coming down the steps. He says he's going to have a little party. So we went to this, local restaurant. I said, Ronald, regardless, the film is going to finish. And you're going to be angry because you're not in it.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, now you want. And would it be possible for us to come to interview? And his lawyer thought about it. And so subsequently, then, we were able to interview. By then, I was already completely so-called objective. Yeah. I was completely open-minded. Open-minded in the fact that whatever you say, I'm gonna not to have any doubt. Mm-hmm. So there's no argument during interview. Basically, he taught himself, and neither his wife obviously has been supported him all these years because he didn't have a job. But at one point, the battery went out, okay? Mm-hmm. We had a problem with the technical. Mm-hmm. So they had to go out to get size D battery. Oh, what am I supposed to do with them? I said, Ronald, can I look at some of your pictures? So he had a box of picture. And every single one with him in the beer.
Really?
Can I use this? Can I use it? Fine. Nick came back with a battery. We set up, interviewed him, and Nita was really nice. Afterwards, ordered some Kentucky Fried Chicken for the lunch. At that moment, Ronald went to the refrigerator, opened the freezer, gobbled down some, I don't know, gin or whatever, okay? And I said, Ronald, you're going to go back to work? And he looked at me. I said, as if I was an idiot. Why? if I go back to work, that means the federal government is going to deduct my salary to pay Lily Chin because
Oh,
that $25,000,
yeah.
was the fine, okay? Nita, sick it, his wife, just looked at him. She was, I mean, I wish I had a filming camera.
Mm-hmm.
She was so shocked because all this time she was the one supported him.
Sure.
And as you know, they divorced.
Yeah, I mean,
They divorced. Ronald was a free man and he changed his name and moved to Las Vegas. Do I want to make a sequel? No.
no.
Okay, the issue comes to Who Killed Vincent Chin. Yes, Ronald, my goodness, physically killed Vincent Chin, but there is whole other issues. The auto worker losing their job, outsourcing to the cheap state, okay? At that time, there are 13 non-union states in the United States. And a beginning of opening China market, making parts, number one. Number two was war, gasoline was expensive. So Japan made a smaller car, and so they're targeting Japan for the importing car. But they never targeted Volkswagen, hippies drove Volkswagen, and furthermore, I think it is an issue of a union. Union never addressed to the worker what causes recession, what causes unemployment. Basically, they are pointing, well, because of import, because someone else is taking the job, which is very personal. Someone else is taking the job. Who are these people? They're from Asia. So union used that as mechanism to unite the workers.
So you come from, especially in your earlier work in the 70s, a kind of like film collectivist background. Can you talk a little bit about how you connected with Renee on this film and about what your process was working together?
Renee came to me because she was very disappointed with the organization she was working. And literally, Renee went to Harvard. I'm a visual person. So making film, you need a collaboration between both the visual and written material. Written material meaning writing proposals, for grantsmanship, and she was very good at it. So that's how we begin. But technically speaking, she didn't know anything.
Yeah.
I was more into, camera, sound, lighting, so you have a marriage of two individual, both have a certain area of strength and weakness. I did not realize at that point, but now I'm a faculty. I always try to tell young people, you team up with somebody that area of your weakness. However, it's tricky because when success comes, and that's also a power struggle, who gets the credit? And you know, it is complicated. Yeah.
It is, especially since, I mean, filmmaking is an inherently collaborative process, but
Yes and no.
But I feel like the credit for filmmaking from an industry level is not thought of collaboratively. But tell me what you mean by yes and no.
Renee never got a co-director's credit. I was a director because I knew the machine. She got a producer's credit.
Yeah.
But ultimately she won the co-director's credit. I refused to give it to her. Why? As a director, It's different than producer. It's a different species, okay?
Mhm.
But unfortunately, now as you see the industry, young people, you have to have a producer. My last film, The Exile, was the executive producer. Not only we have a producer, we need the executive producer. And at that point, it was Steven Soderbergh, sexualized video, okay? Now, when you attach certain name, then the funding helps
It follows, yeah.
because they're the one guarantee you.
Mhm.
But now you're not gonna take money and run. So it's a whole different kind of system that I am witness, rather than, oh, let's get together and make a film. And there is hierarchy. System. We need the intellectual, we need the artist, we need the financier, we need connection in Hollywood, okay? For young people, I mean, here's the audience. I never even thought about it. I just went for federal grants. Federal grants has its own issues, meaning because I was trained as an architect, I cannot be objective. So they had to attach a journalist to the project from WGBH, Irving Dresner, who was supposedly credited as being objective. Okay, me and him, we did not get along. He did that. One thing he told me from first get-go, I don't like a music and film. How so? Because the music is an element manipulates people's emotion. Oh yeah, no, they're sad, and they're. But I said it's a motel. It's the birthplace for the most important musician ever come out. No, so from get-go, me and Urban didn't get along. So I fired him. The funny stuff.
So what's your approach? What was your approach to incorporating the songs that you did in the way that you did when you were bringing them
Unfortunately,
together?
I'm still in a big argument with the Universal Music.
Are you really?
Yes. Bob Seger, local Detroit musician. I met Bob Seger in Kathmandu, Nepal.
Really?
Because I was doing a small project for the Kennedy family for Special Olympics. And I was sent to Nepal.
Okay.
Bob Seger was there. So he gave me the rights of the music. Okay. Unfortunately, just like any other merger and takeover, his company sold it to Universal. So because if today I'm talking to you, Universal refused to budge. I not through every single connection. No, they was $60,000.
Oh my gosh.
Before they were willing to clear all the Bob Seger's rights. Where am I going to get $60,000?
Seriously.
Yeah. So here is, I don't know what to do. After all of these years, the film was restored by Martin Scorsese, George Lucas, and Todd Phillips, digitalized, but the music rights. So as a musician, I'm putting myself as a musician. Unfortunately, you no longer control your own property. So as a filmmaker, this is a very issue. So my last film, The Exile, hell no. No more recording the music. Hire the musician, hire the people, and do the original composition to acquire. Oh, by the way, I really want to use I Heard It Through Grapevine. Okay.
Yeah.
But the song sold it to California Raisin.
Is that why you couldn't use it, because it went to the California Raisins? That's ridiculous.
As a filmmaker, it's not only the story, music, and collaboration.
Mhm.
In some way, you have to have a sense of entrepreneurship,
Mhm.
the business, but people young, I had no idea. Everybody trusted each other,
Yeah.
and then people turn their back on you, is someone you know very well. And
Mhm.
that's what happens,
Mhm.
unfortunately, yeah.
What do you think the role of documentaries are, or even a film like Who Killed Vincent Chin, in empowering audiences?
Documentaries have become a form of most welcome genre,
Mhm.
more than narrative film.
Mhm.
As you see, based on a true story, a narrative film.
Mhm.
But documentarians began to move from traditional of a narrative way.
Mhm.
Narration, you have somebody's telling the audience what to believe. Documentarians are able to embrace how the narrative form,
Mm.
incorporating music,
Mhm.
and greater part is digital camera. You can shoot, okay. But however, if it gives you 100 hours, how can it reduce down to 30 minutes?
Mhm.
It is a conception idea, meaning a director, me, number one most important issue is I understand my subject. I want them to trust me.
Mhm.
And it is collaborative work between you and my subject.
Mhm.
It's not me telling people who the subject is. It's
Mhm.
you and me together. And that is a very tricky dialectical relationship.
Sure.
What happens if you don't like your subject, okay?
Mhm.
So in a way that you have to almost like a Zen Buddhist, meaning clean up all your preconceived idea
Mhm.
about the person. People are not stupid. They know when you come in, you have a motivation, you have an agenda.
Sure.
You want to get what you want. No. Coming with a completely open mind.
Mhm.
That's what Ronald Evans believed in. Because by then, he looked at me. Yeah, I said, do whatever you want to say. I'm not going to challenge you.
Yeah.
But it is a human relationship. It's hard to cultivate, and yet it works.
Mm.
When you go in, people here are people. Homeless people know if you're taking photograph of them, you're going to make money out of it, okay?
Mhm.
You go to the Veterans Hospital, you see all these soldiers who didn't have an arm, who didn't leg, from the war, they know you're going to make a PR out of it.
Mm.
People are people. The sincerity, it is almost something, I don't know, that you can teach in college.
Do you mean the sincerity on which you have to, one, approach the good intention,
No,
right, that you bring?
open mind.
The open mind that you bring. Yeah.
It's hard.
I mean,
People
it's
are
incredibly
very-
difficult, especially when you're making when you're making work that has you engaging with people whose like worldview or mindset can be radically different than your own, keeping that open mind is probably the biggest challenge, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to teach that.
Yeah, I don't know how you would.
It is my revelation.
Mhm.
They need to understand. If I walk in a room and I see someone who really I do not like, how do I able to have that? That's what the Corporation for Public Broadcasters I'm not able to objective, okay?
Mhm.
How do you be so-called objective without the agenda? And that's when I think in documentary film become very, very successful.
Yeah.
You really trust the person you are talking to.
So one of our audience members asks, how do you think the film Who Killed Vincent Chin would be received if it was released today?
I think it's extremely relevant.
Mhm.
Extremely, because it's a dialectical interaction between one race against another race and the fail of a justice system.
Mm.
I mean, it failed. It didn't work.
We have another audience member who wanted to follow up on your comments earlier about sincerity and open-mindedness, and wonders what other films out there, documentaries or not, have you seen that bring that type of sincerity and open-mindedness?
Well, this year I voted for a film called The Year of a Tiger.
Oh yeah, fantastic film.
Yeah, but they didn't win. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's okay. And I looked at the filmmaker, follow a young woman who she was raped when she was 11 years old, and waited until she was 18, and she was able to convince her parents and go to the court and won.
Yeah.
Lord. Filmmaker took 8 years to make the film.
Mhm.
And this is what we as documentarian able to act or play as a role almost like a historian.
Mhm.
And we are the visual people, okay? And there are so many young people willing to invest. In this particular case, Who Killed Vincent Chin took 5 years.
Mhm.
But in between, I went to North Korea, I went to Africa, I did work for HBO. But this particular situation is so sensitive to the young woman.
Mhm.
As a filmmaker, she was able to cultivate that relationship. And it's remarkable. I really, really appreciate it.
It's a phenomenal piece of work. Yeah. So we have time for one more question, and we do have one last question from the audience that is interested in knowing what you think the role is of optimism in your work.
Optimism.
Optimism, yeah. Do you see optimism in your work?
What a great question. Yes. Because without optimism, you have no future.
Mm-hmm.
We got to be optimistic. We got to open our eyes, not looking from that, looking from back.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Well, on that note, I have to say thank you so much for being with us today. Yesterday, we're so happy to have been able to showcase your work and have you hear your voice. And really,
ultimately, Who Killed Vincent Chin? Not one element, many elements.
Many elements, absolutely. And I think that's a critical takeaway from this. And I think it speaks to how kind of layered and vast your film work is, and how it forces us to think about the multiple factors that go into the social situations and social issues that you cover in your
I
work.
want to already see I still have black hair. I just put a ponytail.
So thank you again, Christine, for being here with us. I appreciate it, especially this late in the evening. And thanks to our audience members for also being.
I would love to be.
Next time, once you're feeling up and ready to go, we'd love to have you here on campus.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Bye.
Well, until next time then.
Absolutely. I will.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.